WAB.com.
Welcome to Monday. We have to congratulate the people of Cyprus. Now they're fixed.
Yeah.
Now they're fixed. Before they were just going to get about a 9% haircut, if you will, and they were just going to lose 9% of what they had in the bank accounts. But then they rejected it, and so the uber elite got together and said, the people are right. We should just do a bank restructuring. That way we don't have to worry the people about voting on things or anything else. We won't give them a tax. We'll just restructure, and we'll take 25% of every bank account over 100,000 euros. So now they've gone from 9% to 25%, but not everybody, just the rich people. I shouldn't say just the rich people and those stupid business owners.
They just don't deserve to pay their employees.
You know what I mean?
They don't deserve it.
I mean, here they have 25% of what? Their payroll. They lost 25% of their payroll.
Well, why'd they have it in the bank?
Right. Why would you have it in the bank?
You know.
And that's why, and that's really what a lot of people all around the world are thinking. Why would I have that in the bank? Why would I do that? I'm just trying to figure that one out.
It does get a little scary, doesn't it? It's a little bit of a concern now. A little bit of a concern.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
I think we started the
Calm
clock.
down, Pat. Don't overstate it here, okay?
I know.
It is a little bit of a
crazy.
concern.
Yeah.
I mean, that's over the top.
A little bit.
I think we started the clock ticking. You know, I said this, right before the election, but even I didn't. I mean, I guess you just don't know what it is until you're on top of it. But we're on top of something. Something's coming, and it is happening faster and faster. And I'm really quite amazed at how fast this is now coming. I'm really quite amazed at how the top is coming down and pushing the bottom up. I mean, when it comes to Cyprus, do you think that Warren Buffett is hurt by this? Do you think that George Soros is hurt by this? Do you think Michael Bloomberg is hurt by this?
No. If they had money in the bank, it was withdrawn long before it was taken.
If these guys are part of the restructuring deal. Mm-hmm. George Soros is part of what's happening. Remember when I said spit yourself out of the system and redesign your own system? Because if you're not designing your new system, you are going to be a slave to somebody else's. Well, these are the guys who are designing the new system. They're not going to be a slave. They didn't lose 25%. And they are slashing and burning every trail that leads to them. Anybody who is on the trail behind them, they've just lost 25% of what they had, of what they earned. Does anybody else look at the people of Cyprus and connect it all with what do we do if they do that to us? What are you going to do? You lose 25% of what you have. Just overnight. The bank, not the government, the bank says, yeah, well, we screwed up. We made too many risky loans. I mean, think of how you feel right now. Right now, you are saying to the federal government, don't spend this money. You don't have the money. Don't spend the money. And we all know we're going to be on the hook for it. We all know it. We're going to be on the hook for all of the money that they have done. And you want to say, not in my name. Well, it is in your name. But that's something we voted for. This is a bank that is changing the deal. I put my money for safekeeping in your vault. You went and you made all the backroom deals and everything else. You ran the company. And you kept telling me that you were safe, that you were good. And so I left my money in there. And now what? You just take 25% because of the mistakes you made? How's that my fault? It is, it's the risk you take today. Who do you trust? The problem is nobody. Name a corporation that you trust, Pat. Name a corporation you trust.
Oof.
Can you name one, Stu? Can you name one, Jeffy? A corporation that you trust. Name a bank that you trust.
There's no bank.
I've got one. Bank of South Lake, Texas. Because it is local. I trust my local bank. That's it. I don't trust. Do you trust Citicorp? Bank of America? I mean, people were running to put their money into those stocks. Did you see if you put your money in the stocks of these banks overseas, and the European, the Euro banks, what was $2 worth of stock is now what, a penny? Congratulations on that.
And did you see the Chase problem last week, where there were millions of bank accounts went to zero, and they didn't know why, and so they started calling, and I guess it was some glitch, but. I mean, whether it's a glitch or not, you don't want that to be happening. Another one of those things. Yeah. You don't want that phone call. Hey, by the way, you've got no money in your bank account. What?
It's going to happen.
Wait, what?
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, you're in Spain and you hear this today and you have $100,000. You run a business. And so you have $100,000 or more in a bank account. You don't have to be rich, gang. You have to make payroll. How much money does your employer, even if he works at a small place, how much money does he have in the bank for quarterly taxes and payroll? How much money? Mm-hmm. I know even when we didn't have 300 employees, we had a lot of money for quarterly taxes and payroll. So if I have those in the bank,
and then 25% of it is gone,
what do I do? What do I do? How do I pay my taxes?
You're in a world of hurt.
How do I, and they're going to hold me responsible for paying my taxes, my quarterly taxes, and I'm going to say, you just took 25% away from me. How am I supposed to pay my taxes? I had my money in there, and you took 25% away, and they'll still hold you to it. They print more money. We don't. So, does anybody realize if you are sitting and you're thinking to yourself, well, well, no, it's coming here. Because we're all tied together. You see the pyramid thing I showed you yesterday, I sent out yesterday? Did you guys get that email? There's a pyramid on how much money is there? Really, how much money is there compared to debt? We have $16 trillion in debt. Is it? I can't remember. Is it debt? Yeah, it's debt is $16 trillion. The deficit, the promised debt, is what, $150 trillion? Something like that?
The deficit is usually a yearly number, like the 1.3 trillion. But
you're talking about unfunded liabilities.
Unfunded liabilities, yeah. Whatever.
Yeah. They're all bad.
All of them are bad. It's just a game we're playing with it. So it's $150 trillion on what we really owe. $16 trillion. Now how much money is out there? I saw this report this weekend. You know what the I think it's the M2 money supply is now? Remember, that was the thing that I told you just the other day. It was under $1 trillion when I first started looking at it. Under $1 trillion. It's now $9 trillion. $9 trillion. That's how much actual cash is out in the system. 8 years ago, it was like 800 billion. Just under $1 trillion. It's $9 trillion now. And where is all that money? That money's sitting in banks. So what happened to Cyprus doesn't happen here. It's gonna. I mean, what are you kidding? We're writing $85 billion checks that we can't cash every single month from the Fed. We're just We're just printing new money, $85 billion. That's $1 trillion, 1.1 this year. So if you're sitting in Spain and you're getting up this morning and you have your money in the bank, and you know that if you had your money in the bank, this is how much trouble they're in. You had the money in your bank in Cyprus. Your bank now has gone out of business and has been taken over by the Greek banks. That installs a lot of confidence, huh? You're like, oh, you mean the guys with the Nazis and this is great. This is going to be great. And you know your country is right there on the line. Greece was there, right with Cyprus. All of them are. Do you leave your money in the bank? Do you know they're now starting to run contests? Hey, you leave your money in the bank. You leave your money in the bank this month. Who's going to get a toaster? I think you get a golf club. Well, not a club, because we probably wouldn't want to hand out clubs near the bank, but who gets a toaster and you can draw a bath and throw it in at the end of the month? It'll be great. They're actually having contests now in Spain. Hey, just keep doing business with us, okay? Keep your money here, please. Do you take your money out if you're in Spain today?
Mm-hmm.
Do you take your money out if you're in Spain?
Much of it is they'll let me grab.
I'm in Texas. I'm thinking about taking my money out.
I said.
It's nerve-wracking.
Like I said, local bank.
Yeah.
Local bank. I asked my bank, you going to sell my mortgage? No. You're going to keep my mortgage? Yeah. All right. I'm in. If I can find a bank that is local, that is not tied to all this garbage, that is healthy, and knows what's going on, I'll leave my money in there. I'm not going to leave my money in. These guys, they're in on it. And here's what kills me, is nobody is really seeing the gulf that we are making. They're leaving anyone with under $100,000, they're leaving alone. Well, I got news for you. In the grand scheme of things, those who have $25,000 in the bank, at the end of their life, they have $25,000 in the bank. Those are the ones that need the government at the end of their life. They're going to need the government because they didn't save or whatever. And so they have that much money in the bank. And then there's this giant gulf between them, and they're destroying all the wealth between those guys and everybody up to like the Soroses, the Bloombergs. You are recreating Europe. Overnight, we're recreating it. We are making serfs and lords. That's it. There's nobody on the road in between. They've already, look at the policies this guy has done. He has helped GE every step of the way. He's helped these global corporations every step of the way. And he's done it with your money. So you want to talk about making the rich richer? It's not the guy who lives down the street from you in the big house. That's not the rich guy. It's the Soroses of the world. And they're going to have their money. George Soros made $1 billion, and I can guarantee you he's not taking a haircut. Now, here's the other thing. Besides the people on the street, who did this piss off? Anybody?
The Russians.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody? You notice? I'm glad you noticed that in the articles this weekend. That the Russian billionaires took the 25%. Okay. Did anybody notice that there was a death of an enemy of Putin's this weekend? I mean, I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure. I mean, people die in the bathtub all the time without radiation, right?
All the time.
All the time.
Every day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here's this big outspoken, the number one enemy of Vladimir Putin shows up dead this weekend. Just taking a little bet. That's it. Don't piss off the Russians. So who had their money still in the bank? The Russians. That's not going to end well. Who else pissed off the Russians this weekend? We did. Israel did. Because Israel now is in a situation to where they've announced pretty much to the world, we're on our own. We don't trust America at all. We're on our own. By apologizing to the Turks, that's the announcement that they've made. We know it. We're on our own. We've got our own alliances. Meanwhile, there's this strange ramp up all of a sudden where everybody's really concerned about Iran. I don't get this. I've been banging the drum on Iran since before Iraq. No. The head of the snake. It's Iran. It's Iran. We got to go into Iraq. Why? It's Iran. Well, it's a new strategy. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I see it. You want to pop the head of the snake by putting the snake's head in a vice. Between Afghanistan and Iraq, you'll plant democracy there, and you'll pop the head of the snake. Okay, I get it. Wait a minute, that's not what you're doing. Wait a minute. This doesn't make any sense. What are you doing? It's Iran. Now that it's too late to do anything, all of a sudden, strangely, this administration is all up in arms about Iran. Something's wrong. Do not get on the Iran war bandwagon. Do not. We're being used.